Champions are champions because they master the art of getting back up. Now, no matter what you do or how much you prepare, at some point in your life, you are going to get knocked down. But see, for the legends, champions, warriors, and for the overcomers, no obstacle, no trial, no tribulation, no situation is strong enough to keep them there. Put that loss and defeat behind you. Awaken the giant within you. How you respond right now will define you. Tap into that greatness on the inside of you. They doubt you, so the world will try you. But don't you let anything deny you. Show the world you still have fight in you. Let them all see that champion inside of you. Let them all see that champion inside of you. Each challenge you face is a great big mirror that allows you to see inside yourself. The way you respond to struggle will reveal to the world who you really are. Being a champion isn't just about the doing part. It's about the being part. You gotta become that person.
Happy Tuesday, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday. It is day 101. I still put 100. Let me tell you what be happening in the morning. I copy and paste the previous day's title, but sometimes in my haste, I forget to actually go back and change the day. That's why today says it is day 100 when it's really 101. Because once I open up my book, I realize what I did when I began to look at the screen. So it's not day 100. Yesterday was day 100. Today is 101. September the 12th, 2023. It is day 101 of year 5 of reading through books, laws, and prophets. And of the 5-year consecutive day count, it is a 1,481. Today, we're going to read the next chapter. I thought about just starting in the Holy Megillah, but I think I'm going to just go right back to Owaspi first, right? We're going to read chapter 16 in Owaspi, the book of Fragapati. We're going to read one chapter, and then we're going to hop over here to the Holy Megillah and read the next chapter, which is chapter 44. So, with that being said, let's see. Father, we thank you that you not only are the great creator, but you are the great painter. And every star that you stroke and every human that you make is a masterpiece. All right, let's see who are here. Jamia, hey girl, hey. Peace, sister. Zachariah, creator only. Shalom, shalom, fam. Drayson Righteous, what's going on, fam? Kings and Queens Coaching Group, shalom. Tikva, hey girl, hey. Creator is undefeated and unstoppable. Mom, hey girl, hey. Shalom. Elizabeth Weaver, hi, Ray. And everybody else here already hanging out in the background. Top of the day to you. Let's get rolling. All right, chapter 16. Let me get my water first. All right. Okay. Chapter 16, page 184. I forgot to turn the light off behind me. I didn't get that in a minute. Sorry about the light moving over my head. That's better. Okay. Yeah, that's better. All right, y'all. Page 184, chapter 16, or chapter XVI. When the time of recreation was ended, because remember we left yesterday, Fragapati said take 3 days recreation, right? Boom. When the time of recreation was ended, Fragapati ascended the throne of Jehovah and signaled to the marshals to proclaim order and labor And at once the vast multitude took their places, and in the same instant the Essenars discoursed music with anthems, the which, when finished, was the signal for business heavenly. Fragapati said, "Again, I am about to depart, and again to leave the God of Moru, Athavra, with you. And Hoab and such of his hosts as I may choose shall go with me." Hold on one second, y'all. Hey, Jeremiah. Jeremiah. You in the room? Okay, I thought it was him. I'm gonna just send him a message real quick. Hold on. I forgot to tell him something so he don't leave out of here. Sorry, y'all. No, this is so unprofessional. I just remembered. I forgot to tell him last night. All right, hold on. Today. All right. Okay. Again, am I about to depart, and again to leave the God of Moru, Athavra, with you, and Hoab, and such of his hosts as I may choose shall go with me. For according to the rank and glory of gods, I must now deliver Hapacha and his kingdom of Ipsoji, raised up from Gautama. What is Gautama? Gautama is the Americas, North and South. The Central is included in that as well, but I figured y'all just knew that. Thereupon, Fragapati descended to the foot of the throne and sat down, and Athavra, god of dawn of Moru, came down and took him by the hand in ancient manner and said, "Behold, thou hast honored my throne, and the time of thy departure is upon thee. Arise then, O God, and go thy way." And Fragapati rose up and stood aside and signaled for Hoab to go and to be raised in the same manner, the which he did, becoming wise in the behavior of gods toward one another. The marshals had filed 50,000 attendants, besides 10,000 Essenars, and at the signal from Fragapati, marched forth out of the capital, followed by the host of Hoab and 100,000 Etherians. And when they were once beyond the lights of Moru, behold, some of the hosts of Hoab rejoiced, because they were better pleased to be where there were less. Hold on, what? And when they were once beyond the lights of Moru, behold, some of the hosts of Hoab rejoiced, because they were better pleased to be where there was less light. Yet there were 700 million of them who rejoiced not, but rather loved the light more. Then Fragapati said, "It is well that not all are of the same." It is well that not all are of one mind. The 700 million who love the light more shall be my traveling companions to Ipsoji, because they are strong in light. I have worked for them. But the others shall be taken back to Zeredho, whither I will also come in due time. And after they were settled in Zeredho, behold, I will send a God to them, and they shall found a new kingdom in Jehovah's name. And they shall found a kingdom in Jehovah's name. Let all hands, therefore, enter the Avalanza following me. At once the host entered the ship, and Fragapati gave the word to be off. And they sped forth direct to Zeredho, led by swift messengers who well knew the nearest route and the lightest places. And the route taken was through the sea of Fuwicha and the Oram of Haiti. Hardly had they gotten underway when the light of the upper heavens began to descend on Hoab, whose excitement from the wondrous scenes made him propitious to the change. And feeling the buoyancy of the light, he thus held forth, saying, "How could I forget thee, O Jehovah, or thy purposes observe and deny thy designs? How saw I not that at my quickening in my mother's womb I was the farthest from thee, and yet even then thy breath was upon me. And when thou hadst fashioned me and badest me walk upright, thou didst send thy angels to me, saying, Behold, thy Creator liveth. Life of his life thou art, flesh of his flesh created he thee, and he gave thee thyself in proof of himself. In the earth I was conceived, housed up in darkness, of thyself built up, nor was I of myself anything under the sun. And thou createdst the honeybee, and bade him speak to me for my own benefit. He said, Behold me, O man, I am a worker. In a community, I live with my brothers and sisters. I shut my eyes to things sour and bitter, and I store my house with sweet provender only. Soul of man, hear me. I am the voice of thy creator. That is, hold on. Let me highlight it. Hold on. You know, I get all choked up about a bee. Let me read that again. That was amazing. Listen. And thou createst the honeybee, and bade him speak to me for my own benefit. He said, Behold me, O man, I am a worker. In a community, I live with my brothers and sisters. I shut my eyes to the things sour and bitter, and I store my house with sweet provender only. Soul of man, hear me. I am the voice of thy creator. Behold the harmony of mine house and the provision I make for my newborn. And thou createst the ant, and bade him to speak to me for my own benefit. He said, Behold me, O man, I am a worker. In a community, I live with my brothers and sisters. Soul of man, hear me. I am the voice of thy creator. Behold the industry of mine house, and the burdens we bear jointly into our stores. It's amazing. We was out at the pool the other day, and there's always this long line of ants. No matter where we sit, there's always this. It ain't like we ain't never seen this before, but every time we sit down, we just notice it and we leave them alone. There's always this long line of ants at the pool, no matter where we sit, like I said. And there's always, by the time we get there, they're already in the midst of their work. Long line carrying back and forth little pieces of things that they'd have picked up. A line going this way, a line going this way. And we sit there and we stare and we get close. Like, what are them nuts doing? Every time they come over here, they're squatting down on the ground. What are they looking at? We're literally watching the ants, and you can see them. And it looks like from above, it looks like it's this one line, right? That's like constantly vibrating, but it's not. As you get closer, you will see it is one line. But what's crazy is, okay, so some parts of the line, okay, so you got one line going in this direction and one line going in this direction. They seem to merge. And some parts of the lines, they don't actually merge. They just walk, they're really close to one another as they pass by. And some of the lines, I was like, that is dope. Like, do they talk about this? How do they do this? Some of them, they zigzag in and out of each other. Some of them, you see them actually bumping into each other, like, oh, excuse me, get out. Oh, excuse me. Like, man, watch where you're going. Get out the way. And it's like always these one or two ants that's always bumping into each other, but they don't break the ranks. The person that's going, or the ant that's going this way, to just move out the way and just, but it's always this one that's bumping into everybody. I'm like, this is amazing. These ants that's bumping into each other, they might be new. I don't know. I ain't really studied it like that, but it never ceases to amaze me. Okay, back to the story. I'm going to read it again. Verse 15, on page 185 at the top. And thou createst the ant, and bade him speak to me for thine own benefit. He said, Behold me, O man, I am a worker. In a community, I live with my brothers and sisters. Soul of man, hear me. I am the voice of thy creator. Behold the industry of mine house, and the burdens we bear jointly into our stores. And thou createst the spider, and he bade him speak to me. He said, "Behold me, O man, I am one with thy creator. By the spirit of things I move. By the geometrical figures of the unseen worlds I build my house. Not that I Think not that I reason or take lessons. I move by the Spirit within me, and it moveth in concert with the spirit of things without. Hear me, Spirit of man. There are two ways to knowledge before thee. One is by thy soul of things, and one is by reason." You ever look at a spider's web and how intricate it is? And it's always some amazing design within its net. It blows me away, no matter how big or small it is, right? And if you go through and you mess their web up, by the next day, they'll have another one built up. I'm just like, I know y'all get tired of people. "And thou heldest up before mine eyes continually, that the unseen rulest over the seen. Then I became vain before thee, O Jehovah. I said, when I am dead and born of spirit, then will I see the unseen and cannot err more. But lo, my folly in thy sight. When I was raised in spirit, I saw the spirit of things, but alas, the soul laid still beyond. And to me, the soul was now the unseen cause and the ruler over the spirit." Let me go back. I'm going to read that again. Verse 17. "And thou heldest up before mine eyes continually, that the unseen ruledest over the seen. Then I became vain before thee, O Jehovah. I said, when I am dead and born a spirit, then will I see the unseen and cannot err more. But lo, my folly in thy sight. When I was risen in spirit, I saw the spirit of things. But alas, the soul laid still beyond. And to me, the soul was now the unseen cause and ruler over the spirit. Again, thy holy ones came from the ethereal worlds, speaking to me, saying, and yet beyond the soul cometh nirvana. Now have I beholden thy crystal spheres and thy matchless glories. Yea, I look into this sea of full witcher, whither I had often gazed before, seeing nothing then, but now beholding ships laden with gods and goddesses from thy Nirvanian fields, and higher works and worlds moving." Hold on, I think I skipped a footnote. No, all the way back up in verse 16 when we was talking about the spider, where it says, "Think not that I reason or take lessons. I move by the spirit within me." After "take lessons" is reference number 18. And 18 at the bottom says, "Or take lessons from other spiders. I take no lessons," right? That was beautiful. Okay, so let me go back. I'll read verse 20 again because there's a footnote. B, yeah, okay. "Now have I beholden thy crystal spheres and thy matchless glories. Yea, I look into this sea of Fuwicha, whither I had often gazed before, seeing nothing then, but now beholding ships laden with gods and goddesses from thy Nirvanian fields, and higher works and worlds moving." And after Nirvanian fields is reference letter D. Remember, the letter references are at the end of the book. Shayla, hey cousin, hey girl, hey. Derek, shalom. Tabitha, hey girl, hey. Tabitha said it's amazing how the ants carry their food walking close to each other. It is. They carry like, what is it, like 100 times, that might be a little bit of exaggeration, but they carry like 100 times their weight. Listen. Okay, on page 236, the letter reference D says, and it was what? Thy Nirvanian fields. Those who have had substantial experience in spirit. Okay. Those who have had substantial experience in spirit communion are often surprised to learn that less developed spirits, especially the least developed Esians, frequently cannot see the more mature or advanced spirits who may be standing in their immediate vicinity if they can see anything at all. So, say if you right here and you got, we call it demonic activity, not really demons, right? But it's really the uncultured spirits, probably the newly born, or those who've been hanging around, refuse to grow. A lot of times, just like us being in the flesh and looking with these physical eyes, we can't see them, even the uncultured ones, the lowest of the low. We can probably feel them, maybe. But if you are, if I would say, how can I say that? I would say, okay, what's crazy is if you're on the same level of the shenaniganizing spirits, you should be able to feel them. Like you should be able to see them, but you're still blinded to them. Yet we can see that your behavior is one and the same with them, even though you can't see them. But those a little bit more spiritually mature and a little more in tune with the spiritual world around you, you can feel it. Sometimes you can see it. All right. But that's crazy. But it's saying those the lower spirits, even though they're fully spirit, they can't see those who are of a more mature nature, even if they're right there in the very vicinity. Our girl, shalom, sis. Okay, page 236. I'll just start back over because I wasn't even done. Oh yeah, I read the sentence, but I'm gonna start over. Those who have had substantial experience in spirit communion are often surprised to learn that less developed spirits, especially the least developed Esians, frequently cannot see the more mature or advanced spirits who may be standing in their immediate vicinity if they can see anything at all. Sometimes those who are newborn in spirit cannot even see immediate relatives who are, through experience, more advanced in spiritual grade. Once these Esians begin to advance spiritually, they are surprised to suddenly see and hear a loved one appear who had actually been standing beside them all the time, but had been unable to make their presence known. Similarly, it seems that spiritual grade also affects the ability of those who reside in the realms below from perceiving higher atmospheric or etherian realms for the same reason, right? So it makes sense. Even those here who seem like they don't have a spiritual bone in their body, if that is such a thing, right? You can tell that they are on lower levels spiritually because they can't even perceive spiritual things, right? They don't even know that they themselves are an entity just housed with this flesh. It's not what you call it? It's not an artificial intelligence. It's housed by organic intelligence that help to grow the spirit, their entity, right? Okay, I'm gonna read verse 20 over. Page 185 at the top. Now have I beholden thy crystal spheres and thy matchless glories. Yea, I look into this sea of Fuwicha, whither I had often gazed before, seeing nothing then, but now beholding ships laden with gods and goddesses from thy Nirvanian fields and higher works and worlds moving. So remember, when he was in the best, most perfect realm, he couldn't see any of this stuff, right? He was spiritually dense. Even though he was higher than some, he still couldn't see all the things around him and even realize that there was something higher than them because of the spiritual grade. And thy fire stirreth me to the soul to expand to the mastery of these atmospheric heavens. Oh, that I could vent the hallowed glory thou hast bestowed upon me. Oh, that I could thank thee for the happiness I have because thou createst me. Oh, that I could open up the souls of men to behold thy wondrous works and the majesty of becoming one with thee, thou Almighty Jehovah. Oh, that they would hear me and believe. Oh, that they would not turn away from light. Oh, that they could learn to glorify thee every day for the little light, the little joy they receive. How, like gods and goddesses, would they become in thy kingdoms? But they harbor discontent. They discourse on the little they have received from thee, like the canker worm that groweth to the Like the cankerworm that groweth to devour, they feed their sorrows by recounting them over and over. For pain they cry out, and for disappointment they weep. Yea, they feed their own darkness with darkness, and in the end forget thee, thou all light. Wow. That explains why sometimes people go from bad to worse. Or when listen, it's like when somebody get down, they have bad breakup and they want to play Mary J. Blige songs. Like you feeding your darkness with darkness, which drives you deeper into darkness, right? Joab ceased, but gazed at the coursing ships in the atmosphere in heavens, whereupon Fragapati said, Behold thy wisdom, O Jehovah, whom thou wouldest make strong. Thou hast made to feel adversity's sting. Thou hast made to feel adversity's sting. For the emergencies that lie ahead, thou plannest For the emergencies that lie ahead, thou plantest thy gods to run near the cliffs whereon millions perish. Who can attain to know thy wisdom, O Jehovah? Who can comprehend the millions of thy sons and daughters? And after millions of is reference number 19. 19 at the bottom of the top of the page says, the millions of thy sons and daughters. That was in the previous version. And yet thou knowest everyone and carriest them by a breath. So gently they feel thee not, nor know thee. To a very hair's breadth thou takest them, and in the time of desperation thy hand cometh to the rescue of the righteous. Man said, Now will I fortify myself with riches and houses and all manner of possessions. Adversity shall not come upon me. I have more faith in my possessions than in Jehovah. Mine is a kingdom I can see, but Jehovah is far off. But thou art suffering him in his vanity to go away from thee for a season. Sooner or later thou bringest him in with a short turn, either on earth or in heaven, and he goeth down as an example to hundreds and to thousands that envied him. Thou hast set up the poor man in faith. He toileth day and night. He is weary and sore. He crieth out with hunger. His rags are a shame to him, but he remembereth thee, O Jehovah. In thy praise he singeth a song in his soul every day. To do good unto others is his great delight. And thy hand reacheth down to him in time after. His soul is like a giant. And thy hand reacheth down to him in time after. His soul is like a giant. Thou hast planned him for a very God in heaven. The spark of faith that was in him he nurtured, and it became as mighty as a tree that fell not down before the blast. The good he received he exalted, and it fructified and grew as a harvest rich in soil, and he stood mighty in all places. And thy praises are his songs. In thy praise are his songs, and they endure forever. His psalms are the voice of thy loves, and the multitude of thy people remember him, whilst all else are cut down and destroyed. Thy work hath a sure foundation. Thy wisdom standeth before man's wisdom. Not one hath found a failure in thy word, as it speaketh to his own soul. Thy labor is from the subtle and unseen, thy footstool the cause of causes. But the vain man looketh to thy object. He turneth thy ways upside down. He maketh the cart to push the horse. And thou sufferest him to drink to feel of his and thou sufferest him to drink to the feel of his own vanity. And when he runneth himself into torments, thou findest a way to reach him and bring him home to thee. Great is his glory when he findeth thee. His voice becometh the love of thy loves forever. For thou hadst shaped him as an example and given him scope to run his extreme for his own glory. Yes, thou hadst planned him for one of thy great workers that would not go down afterward. That was good. And that's the end of chapter 16. So we're going to pause right there. Pick up 17 when we come back Thursday, because tomorrow is the last Sabbath in this moon cycle, beautiful people. Yeah. Got a few more minutes. So let's hop on over here. Chapter 44. All right. 44. Wait a minute. Hold on. We didn't read 43, did we? You know what I think I did? 43. I'm planning to wed near. The wedding of Yeshua and Miriam. I don't remember us reading this. I think I read ahead a little bit. That's why I look familiar. We didn't read this. Okay, so we should be chapter 43, not 44. Yeah, we definitely didn't read 43. 43 is super long. We didn't read this. It's 523 verses. So belay my last chapter, not 44. In fact, we didn't read this. Chapter 43. That's how long it's been. 43. Right. Yep. Okay. So I put it here, but yeah, I saw where I messed up. All right. We ain't gonna read all of this. We just gonna go through it to the end of our time today. We may go over just a few minutes, So we'll probably read up to verse. Maybe to after the footnote. Okay. All right. Chapter 43. We're on page 574 in the Holy Megillah. Chapter 43. The wedding. I know this is going to sound like blasphemy to Christians. So he got married. Listen, we just read from this version. We seen it all the way to the end, my G. Listen. The wedding of Yeshua and Miriam at Gan Shalom in Cana, with an account of the martyrdom of Father Joseph and a letter from Gawain Jaman. I always have a problem saying his name. Anyway, verse 1. Though married since before this world began, Jade and Janah now come as Yeshua and Miriam had long planned to wed at Cana near Galilee. So a little bit early on, we realized that the wedding at Cana in Galilee, the story in the Bible, that wine that Jesus manifested from the water, that was actually his wedding. Things are making a little bit of sense. It's kind of lining up with this story, right? Okay, so just listen. Hear it out, y'all. Hear it out. In the wilderness, on the outskirts of Cana, was a communal farm called Gan Shalom, which means Garden of Peace. After Garden of Peace is reference number 1 at the bottom. The Hebrew word for Gan, Gan, means garden. The Hebrew word Shalom means peace. Verse 3. That farm was run by Nazarene relatives of Yeshua and family and friends of Miriam. Ora, Yeshua's cousin and 6th disciple, was born and raised at Gan Shalom. Ora's father, Zabdiel, was the brother of Yeshua's father, Joseph. After Joseph is reference number 2. Nazarene, the scene. What's going on, fam? Kevin, what's going on, man? Shalom, shalom. Okay. Reference 2 says Zabdiel means gift of Elohim. Okay. Back up. Or verse 5. Ora's father, Zabdiel, was the brother of Yeshua's father, Joseph. Zabdiel was a master gardener and lion of Zion and served as a priest of the Order of Green Wizards and the White Rose. Zabdiel, a great wizard, was the author of a book called The Scroll of Zebulun, the Wizards for Aspirants to Nazarene Wizardry. Jalil, also called Sarah, transcribed of the Lord. Jalil, also called Sarah, scribe of the Lord and Lady, have been guided by Sheba to add that scroll to this edition of the Holy Godspell. That scroll is for the uplift of all who love the Holy Megillah and have a sincere desire to become a green wizard of the White Rose. Don't let these terms throw y'all off, right? So the wizards and the Order of the White Rose, all this stuff, it's like really master herbalists and understanding nature, all these good things, right? But Wizard to me are like gatekeeping words that's gonna keep people out the book and they can't get past the terms, right? So only from that circle will initiates into Nazarene wizardry be chosen. And after chosen is reference number 3. And 3 says, for information on the modern green wizards of the white robes, contact the current Yair at this writing. Hold on. Contact the current Yair at this writing, day of Greenleaf, the chief scribe of the first English edition of the Holy Megillah, at Essene Church, P.O. Box 516, Elmira, Oregon 97437. That is also the address for information on founding local autonomous groups that have in common a love for the Holy Megillah, the Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way. It is also the address for the modern Essene Mountain of Peace Mystery School, linked to the Essene Order of the Blue Rose and its inner circle orders of the Red Rose and the White Rose. Because of the era we live in, we will not organize ourselves as one giant legal entity that can be knocked down by one lawsuit, the modern equivalent of a witch hunt, but instead will manifest ourselves as autonomous congregations, united not legally, but spiritually in a shared love for the Holy Megillah, the Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way. Write to me, O esoteric one who actually reads footnotes. Look, they do what I do. Let me just see how much people really read. Do they really read the fine print? Look, like my scrolling banner. Half people, you probably read it when everybody here probably read it when I first put it up, right? But most people, they don't really read, and I just kind of put some random stuff in there, right? And it comes up, look, you are the real MVP if you kept on reading this. I bet you completely missed what I was talking about because you were reading this long scrolling banner that is about to repeat all the same information, all the same words again, right? It was just fun to do. Listen, okay. Hold on. Write to me, O esoteric one who actually reads footnotes. Smile. Love in all ways, always in love. Greenleaf, the wizard. Day in elf friend play. Like day, DAYNIN. Elf friend. ELF dash friend. Elf friend play. Day in elf friend play. Okay. All right. Verse 10. Only one from that circle will initiate. Hold on. Only from that circle will initiates into Nazarene wizardry be chosen. Zabdiel was a student of Zebulun and was chosen to write down Zebulun's teaching before the old sage ascended unto El-Cush. As a young man, Zabdiel had served in the Nazarene secret navy called Fellowship of the Heavenly Sea Breeze, a fleet of 7 ships built by Alafim craft workers, the first and most magnificent of the ships being called by the name of the Queen of the Air, Shemaiah. That secret navy within the Lions of Zion was established by Yakatzeah a year after his establishment of the Order of the Immaculate Conception. Yea, 1 year after Yakatzeah had become Yair upon the martyrdom of Imuna the Yaira, angel Gabriel appeared to him a second time. Gabriel, messenger of the center branch of the tree of life, gave to Yakatzeah another mission. That mission was as follows. Gabriel said to Yakatzeah, the Lord Christ Jade and Lady Christ Jannah give thanks for your help. Dear Yakatzeah, if you will, the Lord and Lady have another mission for you, but this holy task is dangerous. Wherefore, I will describe the mission before you decide whether or not to accept it. Yakatzeah replied, O Gabriel, it is always my will to do the will of the Lord Christ and Lady Christ. In what way may I render special service to Elohim? Gabriel replied, for some time now, Shevet Rekushim, the tribe of gatherers of materials, along with Shevet Rokelim, the tribe of merchants, unknown by worldly authorities, have sailed in small ships between Mount Carmel and the coast of Egypt near our mother temple, landing in secret locations. Those ships have been guarded by the Nazarene lions, but now a bigger ship must be built under the banner of the lions, for lo, the lions will take the scriptures of the mother temple to Nazarenes in dispersion in faraway lands. Wherefore, within the lions of Zion, let an order of the sea be formed. Let the Nazarene secret navy be called Fellowship of the Heavenly Sea Breeze. O Yakadzeh, your mission is as follows. Alaphim craftsmen will build you a ship from wood harvested in harmony with the way of Israel. The blessing of the Alaphim will be upon your ship, which is a powerful blessing indeed. Behold, you will personally deliver a shipment of scriptures from the mother temple to the land of Ernie, Ierne. Is that Ernie? It looked like Ernie to me. It's reference number 4. Ernie is an ancient land for Ireland. Oh, okay. Ernie, or Iron, I would say Ernie, whatever, is an ancient name for Ireland. Okay. In Ernie, you will find a settlement of Nazarene Celts, could be Celts, Celts, Nazarene Celts who migrated there many centuries ago from other lands. That settlement is called by a Hebrew name, Gan Shalom, for those Nazarenes have copies of an early edition of the Holy Megillah and have preserved the Nazarene Hebrew language. In Ernie, you will establish the order of the Immaculate Conception at Gan Shalom. When you return to the Mother Temple from your long voyage, see to it that it becomes a sacred duty of each Ya'ir or Ya'irah to do as you have done, to deliver the Nazarene text of each new generation unto the Nazarene settlements in distant lands, and to maintain relations whenever possible. Yakadzeh completed his mission, and the successors to his office did likewise. Mother Mary's martyred mother, Laba, was of the 5th generation of the order of the Immaculate Conception in the land of Ernie. When Mother Mary's martyred father, Absalom, the healer, carried the Nazarene teachings to Ernie and met Laba there, he was delivering the Nazarene scrolls of his generation to the Nazarene settlement in Ernie. Absalom, the healer, was sent on that journey by the Ya'ir. Absalom was an experienced sailor, for he was a dealer in rare herbs from around the world and had sailed to many ports in the Mediterranean Sea. Absalom sold these herbs to herbalists, which was his way of earning a righteous living. When Absalom first set his eyes on Laba, her hair red like fire, eyes peaceful emerald green, he was in love. For her countenance was lovely in every way, and the light around her was wholesome and heavenly. She wore her hair in long braids, and around her head was a crown of herbs and flowers of blue, red, and white. Around her neck was the emblem of the order of Shemesh and Shemaiah, and in her eyes was the wisdom of the white rose, and in her hand was the staff of a lioness of a courageous heart. And Laba, who lived at Gan Shalom in Ernie, was a master herbalist like Absalom. Wherefore, when Absalom. Wherefore, when Absalom arrived with the generational shipment of texts from the mother temple, Laba and Absalom discovered their mutual interest and compared knowledge of herbs. Each learned from the other. Laba fell in love with Absalom when she first looked into his eyes. Perhaps the best way to say it is that Absalom and Laba recognized their love for one another. For behold, they recognized each other from previous lives. Therefore, it is said that they were soul mates. And this is where we're going to pause. But right after we read this footnote that comes after soulmates is reference number 5. And 5 at the bottom says, The term soulmates means different things in various contexts and traditions, but most often includes a belief that one soul had some special connection with another soul previous to this incarnation. An exception is when the term soulmates is used in the sense of one person having profound shared interest or other meaningful commonalities with another. In the verse that this footnote is attached to, the main usage is made clear by the preceding verse. They literally recognize each other from previous lives. Of course, Absalom and Laba also share an interest in herbs and likely many other things, including that they were initiates of the Nazarene religion, being soulmates in many ways. Now, I know this previous lives may have triggered a couple people, but we're not going to get into that today. We're going to keep reading it, right? We're going to keep reading it for now. We're going to come back to that. All right, beautiful people. That is it for today. Thank y'all for hanging out. It is Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, day 101 today. We read chapter 16 in Owaspi, the book of Fragapati, and we jumped over here and we started reading chapter 43, which we're going to probably be here probably to the end of the week. If not, going into next week because we take the weekend off and we ain't here tomorrow. But anyway, beautiful people, thank y'all for hanging out. Let's see. Like I mentioned, this is the last Sabbath for this moon cycle, so we should be watching here in the next couple of days. Those who still practice the feast days, Rosh Hashanah is coming up and it begins this Friday. Yom Kippur is coming up. This is not March. Okay, I noticed something. Well, these are my notes. I noticed the moon cycles. So the first part of my book up until now, that's weird. Maybe they forgot to put it in here. I'm just noticing this book that I have, it normally also tracks, it is really accurate with tracking the moon cycles, right? According to how we the Creator does it, which I thought was amazing. I had been using this type of planner for years, not even realizing that the makers of it really understood that, right? That's something I'm just really realizing this year. But I just noticed something about the new moon coming up. But anyway, I ain't gonna get into it right now. But anyway, Father, we thank you that let's see. We thank you that when you created everything with the growth that it needed already inside of it. If it makes sense, if that makes sense, right? Like a seed, even though the seed hasn't borne fruit or it hasn't become a tree, like it has everything it already needs. So humans, even when we're still being carried in the loins of our Father as a seed or a sperm or whatever, everything within that something you actually have to look at under a microscope, it has everything in it for it to manifest a whole human being like this. Like all of the things for growth, it's like it's already jam-packed into something we need a microscope to see, right? That's amazing to me. And the Creator doesn't just make us like that. Everything that is manifested in this realm, even in its before it even materializes here, it's already powerful, right? We just need time to see the process play out. It amazes me, right? So, but all right, beautiful people, that is it for today. We out of here. Looking through here. Okay, y'all just kind of talking to each other. All right, beautiful people, that's it. I love y'all. I'll see y'all back here Thursday morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
But I see through you. from outer space. I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm gold, I've been far away. I'm illuminated now, making moves.
What did you just do to me?
I pushed your astral form out of your physical form.
What's in that tea? Psilocybin? LSD?
It's just tea. With a little honey.
What just happened?
For a moment, you entered the astral dimension.
What?
A place where the soul exists apart from the body.
Why are you doing this to me?
To show you just how much you don't know. Open your eyes.
Been dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they want a cold sign.
What's happening? This isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real, this is...
Dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they want a cold sign.
His heart rate is getting dangerously high.
He looks all right to me. You think that this peculiar universe is all there is?
I don't need gravity, I don't need
What mysteries lie beyond the reach of your senses? Existence, mind and matter meet. Thoughts shape reality.
I don't need gravity, I just need growth. Of this illusion, I am not really here, I'm an intrusion. I don't swim or sink, I just float.
Some benevolent and life-giving, filled with malice and hunger. Dark places where powers older than time and waiting.
I don't swim or sink, I just float.
Who are you in this vast multiverse?
I don't need gravity, I just need growth. I don't need gravity, I just need growth.
Have you seen that before in a gift shop?
I don't need gravity, I just need growth.
Teach me.
No.
It's an earthquake rumble. I won't ever fall, never stumble. And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like Jericho crumble.